with some talking points and, you know, oh, is it going? Okay. Father God, in the name of Jesus, we just thank you and we honor you for this time together, God. I really thank you that this will be a night of clarity. It'll be a night of coming together to just really understand the mission and why we do it and why we serve and how to just become more efficient at what we do and how we do it, Lord. So I just ask that you put your hand on tonight. You put your hand on this food in Jesus' name. And you put your hand on all of us, and we just honor you and we thank you, Father. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Enjoy. Yeah, we got Coke, Sprite, napkins. Oh, no, it's cool. It's cool. I'm going to get mine. Trust me, I'm going to get mine. Yeah, you said you can see it now. You couldn't see it before. For those who don't know, I'm Jordan Eubanks, sound lead here at Novahub. This is Joshua Eubanks, my brother, worship leader, and also he's also over like the department of sound, you would say. Yeah, over like the department of sound. So I answered him, and then you know, he handles all that. So I don't gotta talk to the people
It's funny
face
how
to
that
face.
goes, right?
I just give it to him,
He answers to
and
me.
we good. I love it. Like I don't gotta deal with it.
It's just like growing up.
Yeah, I don't gotta go to the meetings. You know, he just like, hey, bro, we gotta fix this, and I'm like, okay, cool, that's
Nothing
fine,
changed.
that's cool. Um, but yeah, it's gonna be pretty simple agenda tonight. We're gonna go through why we serve, um, and tonight I'd like to do this like once a month, maybe for the first like 2 months or 3 months, and then we should be good after that. But I'm debating it because, and I'm an open book, so I'm gonna be very honest. Like I think out loud as I'm, telling y'all. But as we grow, we may need to do it like once a month for the people who are coming in. Um, I'll start by explaining. Well, I'll start by explaining what we're doing tonight. We're gonna go over why we serve, and tonight the focus is gonna be set up and tear down because at its core, that's the most basic thing that I feel like we have to just kind of get together and lock in. She said, "Yeah, we do. I agree. Yeah. And I will say we haven't. It hasn't been that bad so far. Like it hasn't been as bad as I thought it was gonna be, and some other people thought it was gonna be with being like how quick the change was. But I will say like we definitely, this is a perfect time for us to like, okay, we know what it is. Let's iron out and tighten up on some of those things. So I'll start with explaining just the structure. Yeah, what's up? Yes, yes. Let's have everybody introduce themselves. Yes, let's know each other. Y'all want the mic to do it, or y'all want to just we'll just go around. Good to meet you, Denzel. Yeah. Okay. How long have y'all been going to Novahub? Okay. Okay. 3 years. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay, and are y'all like recently married or something, or
I'm sensing.
same last names? Maybe might be something here. Sibling? No, no.
That's crazy.
Congrats. Woohoo. Hmm. Yes. Okay, let's go down the aisle. Hi,
Hi,
Kiara.
Kiara. Mhm.
Well, welcome. Welcome. Thanks for joining. Go to the next row. Hi,
Hi,
Tiffany.
Tiffany. Okay.
Amazing. All right. Let's just go. Let's go.
Chris.
Mhm. Hey, Chris. That's what's up, man. Let's go down the aisle. I'm sorry. Corday.
Corday.
Mm-hmm.
That's
That's my third day out
I just
here.
been showing up.
Greetings. And
Okay.
lady in the back with the headphones, ma'am. Oh, okay. Her name is here.
Okay. Yep. Yep.
Oh wow, you're
Yep.
married.
That is my wife. Whoa. All right, and then we got
This tall gentleman.
you're good, you're good.
Is
I got you.
mm-hmm.
We've been married for
Yeah. Get him.
2 years and 6 months. Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right.
Mm. That's my dog right there. Yeah.
I want to clap for them.
All right.
Well,
Um, but yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I want to say we do have more people. They just weren't able to make it, but just to see the amount of people that joined and are willing to help and serve and even show out, like we really appreciate it.
Mhm.
A little bit of history with the sound team. Um, it was literally just his brother.
Pastor Papa K.
Yeah, it was just Papa K, and then Papa K brought Josh in, and then they were like, "Hey, Jordan, can you help out here and there?" And I was like, and then the Lord got me, and I, ended up here. But yeah, the structure. So we'll hop into this. Essentially, the structure is there's sound techs, and then there's setup and tear down team. Now, obviously, the setup and tear down team is temporary until we find, until we get into a building. Um, but it is like honestly, my opinion, the backbone of like none of this runs without a setup and tear down team, and it, so the techs we're gonna have like some separate. trainings and stuff for techs or people who are interested in being techs. So we kind of feel like we've identified a core tech team. But if you're ever interested to learn how to actually operate it, let us know. Um, but yeah, so tonight we're gonna focus on why do we serve, and then we're gonna hop into the setup, team structure as far as step by step. We're gonna go step by step and just put some organization to this thing, and then we'll go over tear down team as well. So anything you'd like to add before I hop into this? Got the block here. Yeah. Anything you wanna? Yeah. Okay. Under the smacking them. This is recorded. Should have food time first. Okay. First, why do we serve? I actually want to ask y'all, why do we serve? Like, how do y'all? What are y'all thoughts on that when you hear that? Hey. So we went around and did introductions. So since you walked in, you got to do your introduction. Yeah, she's been great so far too. Just jumping in. Okay. I'm trying not to keep y'all here long. That's why. All right. But yeah, what comes to mind? Why do we serve? What is the? We can just go around the room. Anybody? That's good. Mhm. I like that. Yeah, that's good. Anyone else? Okay. It is? Okay. You don't have to. You don't have to share if you don't want to either. Don't pressure. Yubi, how do you feel? Why do we serve? Joshua, sorry.
I agree with him. Um,
Okay.
yeah, I think we serve to contribute to the house of God, but also think that we serve from a personal place as well. It's what we can contribute in our relationship with the Father directly. The gate is very strong on this, by the way. But yeah, I would say I agree.
It's bothering me. Yes, I would agree with all of that. Now the reason I'm not going to spend a long time because I'm not, like a teacher or anything, but I do want to say I wanted to touch on it because um, you have to remember your why, like in doing this. Um, I think it's very easy to be sure in the moment that like God wants me to serve, right? God wants me to serve, and then you get into it and it's, oof, ooh, okay. Like I need a little second, I need a little break, and sometimes those moments come. And my job is to make sure that those moments are minimalized, as much as possible. That we create systems that are seamless, and it's not like you're toiling. But serving is still serving, right? There's some level of sacrifice involved. So I want us to be anchored in that. So I've been serving for probably like 2 years now. And it started out just with Pop asking me to help and Josh asking me to help. And at the time, like I wanted to be the master of my own everything. Like, my Sundays, and I was like, yeah, I'll come, every now and then, this, that, and the third. And it just, the Lord slowly and surely began to kind of like just weigh on my heart the need of the house. And Apostle would always say something that was so powerful. He would say, you take care of God's house, he'll take care of yours. And I've seen that like insanely. Like it's Ali can testify it, and I would say like over those years, I also wanted to bring it up because probably in the past, right before the move, I was struggling a little bit with serving. And then we went to see her parents for a trip. We were about to go to Florida, and we went to the pastors their church, and because their parents served, we was in there early, and they were having like a little prayer time for the serve team. And they read this verse out of Colossians. I'm going to read Colossians 3:23 to 24. Work willingly at whatever you do, as though you were working for the Lord rather than for people. Remember that the Lord will give you an inheritance as your reward, and that your master you are serving is Christ. And that really hit me because there was probably a couple weeks I wasn't thinking about serving like Christ. I was thinking about just like they need my help and I just have to do this. And like I had to repent of that, because like that's not why we serve. And if any moment you ever feel like, hey, it's just I need a second, come talk to us. Because if there's anybody that understands, like we understand with our background. And we're getting a lot of people who their background was they worked with churches who just didn't understand that aspect. So I want to be the first to tell you we understand that. So come talk to us and we can have that conversation and we can figure things out. We don't want to, create more than what people can handle. Anything you want to add to that? No. Okay. Feel free to tag in. But yeah, I'm gonna end on that note. I'm gonna end on that. Just the why as to why we serve. Like just remember, and if you ever feel like, it's life is just sometimes it ain't even that you forgetting what it is. Sometimes it's just life. Like come let us know and we'll figure it out, and if you need to, take a break, if you need to take some time, or if you just need to step down for a while, that's fine. Like it's completely fine. Like, but if you're gonna do it, you know, like do it with all your heart. So um yeah, let's hop into the let's hop into the training. The goal of this is to really create cohesiveness. I'm a very organized person. When I try to be an organized person and like a very like know where everything's at, and sometimes it's hard to get everybody on the same page. But I believe if we have things like this, we can touch base. First, I want to start with feedback from everybody that has been serving on the setup and teardown team. What are, and I'm gonna write down these answers and take them in, and we'll respond to them after. But how are y'all feeling about either of the processes? Y'all let me know honest feedback. Good. Okay. Love it. Okay. It's fine. Okay. Okay. It's still valid though. Mhm. Yeah, it's like two halves of the same coin for us. Like, I guess I should say it for that. It's like two halves of the same coin for us. Like we have the setup and the sound, but I consider all of them under the same umbrella per se. But yeah, that's valid.
Yeah. Well, it's good to hear that this is it's definitely something that's panning out. I want to ask a little more of a direct question to really get a feel. So, think, how does it feel? It's good, but I want to know if you had to pick one team that you could decide to be on in a day, would it be setup or would it be tear down? It okay, okay, and that's what we thought. Tear down. Okay. If you said setup, raise your hand. All right. Somebody say why they would choose setup over tear down. Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah. Okay. Now, who all said tear down? All right. Somebody tell me why they would choose the tear down over the setup. Ah, okay. Makes sense. Okay. You see that, and that's something that had wasn't really thought about, because we like hands down we would both pick setup. But the reason is because when you come back here after the service, it's usually like maybe another hour. because we're setting up for the week, especially if there's a Wednesday service. Now, if there's not a Wednesday service and there's no events, we can obviously just pack it and leave it. But if there's a service or there's an event, that's some more time people have to spend. And so, for maybe people who are coming further and they want to make it more worth their while, teardown makes a little more sense. But it is tough on the person who's been there for setup, in service, and tear down. And so I know that's one thing we're wanting to talk about, how we can like make that process as seamless as the setup process. Because setup, I mean, is really, really, it's grab and go. And it's pretty, we've gotten that
And then
down.
you're done. You after
Yeah.
service, you go home.
You go home.
You're home by 5. Like 4 if you're in the area.
Mm.
But uh, teardown has definitely felt like, and I know because we've been alternating some days having to do both. Like this past month, we said, okay, we can't keep doing both. We're gonna burn ourselves out. So one of us would do one, and one of us would do the other. And we definitely felt the difference. It was like the Sunday was way better when you got done. It was set up, and then because we're running sound too, but at least you go home. But tear down, it's like, oh, we gotta go back to the church, and now we have to set some things back up. We can't just go and drop it off. So that's a little frustrating at times. So I think that was a really good question. Some of the And I think that's also the point of the training is to so we can set up. We're really just going to go over what you're probably going to learn. I'm not expecting everybody to memorize everything we go over tonight, right? What I'm expecting is that, okay, when you go to set up and tear down next, you're going to be like, oh yeah, Jordan, I remember this part when you're actually doing it, because hands-on is the best part of learning. That's the best way to learn. But for tear down, some of the things we're addressing some of the weaknesses. The biggest weakness, in my opinion, is the duplicate systems. Right, we can only do so much with the systems we have. So we are working on. We've already replaced all those mic stands, so we would never, and those microphones. So we will never have to take those down again, because that was a frustrating. So those can stay there. And then on top of that, we're working on replacing the P16 system. So we're trying to get everything shaved down to where for now it's just the speakers, but these are so easy to put back up and everything's already set up. But yeah, let's set up into the setup. So I'm gonna create like a binder checklist of things to take, because we want this to run on its own. We don't want Josh to always be there or even me to always be there. Now, ideally, we're gonna have a team of core techs that will be on a setup or tear down, right? Like I know Zell will be one of those techs. I know we're working on getting you trained, and I know you may be interested as well. Like we're working on getting the techs trained so that they can be the ones who deal with this directly. So like if you're not a tech, I would ask just don't worry about fiddling with anything on this. But we are going to come up and take a look, because I want y'all to see this is the heart and soul. So I want y'all to come up and take a look, because um, everything goes into here. And essentially, I don't we played around with the idea of having. I think every setup and teardown, we're gonna have some sort of tech, whether it's me or Zell or somebody who's on that tech team who knows, who you can go to as a coach, as a guide. Hey, how do I do this again? Okay, they can guide you, right? But at the same time, when we get in, we want everybody to be self sufficient, where you can just help wherever, right? And we're gonna go over this like 4 specific areas that you can help in. But I want you to see this, because everything is labeled on here, okay? And we'll explain what all this is. This is a rack, right? Do you want to explain this? Okay, you explain this, because he literally put this together
I did.
in his before we had this, just for context, this is why I get so happy seeing everybody here. Before we had this, when we traveled, just for context, it took us 8 hours to set up, and we took that board right there,
All of
and
it.
literally everything that you see over
Everything.
there, and it took us like 8 hours to set up. This past weekend, we did it in an hour and a half.
Yeah.
So like the progress has definitely come a long way. So
Yeah.
like y'all are coming into an easier system.
Yes.
But
And it's
this
because
man,
of y'all, by the way, this is
yes,
easier. Like y'all are the contribution to
yes.
it. And it's why we wanted to gather. And one, just thank y'all for even joining and serving, because my God. Um, yes, it can be a lot. But the more people that get added on, more people that have understanding of what we're doing, it honestly eases up the process completely. So this is what you call a sound rack. So just to kind of give some context to what he was saying, mainly going to be touched by techs. Who are techs? Techs are those who we appoint to handle actual audio adjustments in the house, on the live stream, to handle technical troubleshooting. They typically are those who have a little more technical experience, because this stuff does take time. And so like Denzel was familiar with studios, right? And I did everything. And she worked in audio, and so, and anybody else who wants to get trained up, you just let us know. We're more than happy to show you what we're actually doing. But your tech is who you will look to for troubleshooting issues, connection issues, things of that nature.
At the most, what setup and teardown will be touching is plugging in and plugging out. So just wanted to throw that in there, like just so
Correct.
it can be a black and white.
So on your sound rack, just to kind of explain how this works and why you all should know a bit about what it is that this is. This is our main. I'm going to put it in layman's terms today. This is our main hub or main source of sound, and so this, um, which is really just a soundboard, a sound system, is carrying the ins and outs. Everyone say ins. Everyone say outs. Okay, so ins are anything that sound goes into. Microphones, keyboards technically are ins. Sounds going in, like coming through or being registered through a keyboard. Mics, ins. Outs are everything that sound is coming out of. Speakers. So if sound's coming out of it, it goes into an out. So that's why you see these. It says in, and these are like all our instruments as far as our mics, and these are our outs, and this is what we hook up to for speakers and things of that nature. And so an out. Yeah, the live stream is going to come through these outputs here, and they're all labeled. And the more you work with it, it becomes routine. But if you're not necessarily a tech and you're someone that's more so just plugging in and going, it's still important to know. Okay, like is this going into an input or is this going into an output? And again, the tech who's assigned will be like, hey, put this into input 5 or put this into the guitar input, and then you'll know. Oh, okay, like input 5. I'm just gonna plug it in there. Um, and so this is gonna carry all of that, and then down here is just our mic racks, and so plugging in mics. Um, well, not plugging in, they're already plugged in, but just turning them on every time we start. Once it's plugged in, is all pretty straightforward. So this is something to be very familiar with, because this is what everything gets plugged into when we are on a Sunday service. And yes, great question. So the P16 actually has its own cat cable in the back
We're gonna
of.
go over this as
Yeah.
well, by the way. So if don't feel lost while he's answering.
Yeah. It's actually coming through because we're going to walk through how this works. But it comes through the back of the Behringer, and so there's a piece called the Ultranet, and it's literally just a cat cable, and that goes in there. And on the P16 power bank is a hub that says Ultranet. So it's Ultranet to Ultranet. Yeah, that's not.
We're gonna go
Yeah,
over it.
yeah.
We're gonna go over it. Okay. So now you know what this is. I want to go over what this is. Who knows what this is?
That's what we call an
It's an
XLR.
XLR cable. You're gonna see a lot of these, and we're actually gonna do a XLR wrapping workshop tonight. Yes, we're gonna do a workshop. I'm gonna do it how I don't know if Allie's listening, but just how Dr. Fish had us in there in popular music class, having us roll up XLRs. But we'll get to this towards teardown. But a lot of the times you don't have to don't memorize all the big terms. Everything is labeled, right? So you're mostly going to be always putting stuff in everything that is labeled except for guitar. Guitar takes care of himself. But essentially, if you're ever confused, let's say you're working on speakers, start from the board always. Remember that as an anchor. Start from the board. If you don't know if it's an in or it's an out, because we're going to go over daisy chaining, start from the board. Okay, mains. Okay, this is a female connection. I don't have to explain why we call this a female connection, but it's a female connection. And the male connection goes, and that's actually just how it's called, goes into female. The other end's always going to be the opposite. So that will help you. He said this guy. I don't know who designed it, but but yeah. So male to female, female to male, and then we also have quarter inches. So that's mostly what you're going to be running into. But let's go over step by step. So I think after talking to Zell one day and Cyrus, we decided to um, uh, essentially, because a big struggle is wiring. So if y'all want to, y'all can have your seats now. I'm sorry, you don't gotta keep standing. Um, a big struggle is wiring and keeping wiring clean. Okay, so essentially, there's an order that I'll put in the binder that we essentially want to follow. It's just three steps. There's staging for setup. And this is after you load it and then you unload it into the high school, right? So you show up. Right now we're doing 9 o'clock, but we've been going really fast. If we continue to go well, sorry, if we continue to go well, we continue to go well, we can do like 9:30 call time here, get to the church by 10:30, and we've been doing really good with setup. So even when we were short, but it's gonna be three steps once you get it unloaded: staging, cabling and placing, or cabling and plugging. I don't know which one I'm meant to put. Yeah, cabling, placing, plugging, and cleaning. Okay, so staging. Staging, what that is just setting everything where it needs to be. So in this binder, I'll make a diagram, and a lot of y'all probably already remember how the stage looks, but that's just what is where, right? So when you come in and all the boxes are already in. Okay, you know where the keys are. So put the key stands in the spot, or I'm gonna make a diagram for those who don't know. Put it where the diagram is. Put the keyboards on the stands. Don't worry about no wires yet. Just put everything in place, right? Put the speaker stands at the front where they're supposed to go. Drums. We'll talk about that, but drums, whatever it has to do with drums, put it in the drum spot. Staging is literally as simple as that. Put everything where it needs to be before you even worry about wiring, cabling, any of that. Okay. Now, um, we're gonna go. Any questions about any of that so far? Good. Anything you're gonna jump in and say? What's up? Mhm. Yes, and cleaning. And cleaning. You want to say that? I'll write that. I'll change it.
Yeah. Just want to kind of give so the order is staging, as he mentioned, and then he was saying cabling. I want to be a little more clear. It's power and routing. And so the power part is making sure everything has a plug, has an outlet. So once you stage it, go find power plugs. Once you find power plugs, then you can route. Some people do it the other way. It's okay to do route, but typically you want to do routing last. So you can actually check and see if there's any issues with any of the connections. We just do routing last just because it's worked out best for us. But you want to stage, then power, then route. So set it up, connect it to something, and then we'll do routing. But he'll explain
And
that.
routing is just plugging it into this.
Correct.
So when you power it, you're plugging it. Let's say you're doing the speaker, you plug into the speaker, but the routing is going into here. Now that brings me to my next point. When he says go find power, the good thing is we've narrowed down the finding part. So back here, you don't have to come. I'm gonna just point it out. You can just look back here. We have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're gonna have a total of 6 cases slash boxes. Yes, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep. 6 cases slash boxes. Everything is gonna be labeled. So keys, aux, guitar, bass, P16s, right? This box, because we've done setup so much, we've taken everything that was in that section, the exact number of it, and we put it in that box. So now we should always have the exact amount. We should never have a bunch of extras. It should never be mixed up because I think we ran into that issue probably after like the third time where everything got jangled up. We have extras. We pretty much never want to touch extras unless something is broken. And a lot of times techs will handle that because they'll be like, oh, we need to troubleshoot, or oh, we clearly misplaced an extension cord somewhere. Extras, we have plenty of extras in here. We have a box for, and these are also going to kind of signal your different stations as well. And I'm not as tight on like assigning people to stations. just know, hey, if we have a person doing keys and there's no one doing speakers, hey, I'll go do speakers. Like we're all adults, you know what I'm saying? Like we can all jump in where it needs to be jumped in. We have everything drums. So when you come in, you can just drop this in the drum spot. We have everything speakers and subs. You can just drop those at the front of the stage. And then we have iPads, microphones, like Wi-Fi router. That stuff the tech will mostly handle. You could just put that, by the mixing board. Okay. So ideally, we'll start with speakers. Is that making sense so far? Yes. Mhm. Yeah. That's good that we're actually so ideally I would want the work to kind of be divided equally, like just jump in where you can help. I think that for drums, we'll eliminate that. I would only like one person helping with drums because drums, you're really just assisting JoJo. JoJo's gonna take care of setting up his own drums. So even though we're dropping the box off, even if he's running a little behind, we're not gonna touch that because he's bringing his own set. So until he gets there, he won't. We'll just have one person assisting. I would say speakers and the instruments are the other two big parts. Um, I think it's just a matter of knowing how to do it. It all got to get set up. Does that answer your question? Okay, I'm just making sure because I think ideally we had played with the thought of like, hey, everyone should do this, everyone should do that, but so far everybody was just been jumping in and it's been working. So I'm like, I don't want to, uh, work on something that's not broken.
Yeah, I'll chime in here though. I will say where we usually split up work is we usually may have once we staged, we have people powering speakers and monitors, people powering instruments, and one person assisting the drums, and then there's typically another person maybe doing some sort of taping or organization of the mics and the packs, which has been Kaylin a lot.
Yes, I'm gonna have her
She's
talk a little
been
bit about that
she's
tonight
been
too.
typically the one that
Yes,
like
she does it so well.
when we get the power up and we go back, there's a table in the back with all the mics already organized. The batteries are already set to go. So it's like she's usually doing that. And so that's usually how we break it up and you kind of find yourself in a group. But that's where the techs come in because the techs have been doing a good job of saying, hey, okay, you two, y'all go get the speakers powered. Y'all work on the instruments. And typically it's the tech who's actually helping with Joe. He's because the snake can be a little complex still, and we just have to kind of re go over the routing of it. And then the tech will typically do drums and then go and do like talkback, P16, and things like that. But
Yeah.
that's typically what I've seen it broken down to naturally that has seemed to work. And so what I would say is once we get it staged, I would actually just look for the instruction of the techs because there should be two who kind of delegate from there. Okay, y'all take, and the goal is for us to all know to a degree how to do each one. So it's not a deficiency by me telling Denzel to do one thing one Sunday and then another thing the next Sunday. So hope that clears it up. Yeah.
That's a better answer. But let's go to these speakers. Let's take another field trip. Let's take another field trip. We're gonna go over just how to do each and everything. I know. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. Is this the daisy chained one? You think the floors is a better example of that? Yeah. Okay. So, what is daisy chain? What the heck? Why y'all keep saying daisy chain? Who's Daisy? I don't know, man. I didn't name none of this sound stuff. You don't know. Heard of it. So,
Do you want me to
um,
explain daisy chaining too?
yes, he'll explain it, and then I'll tell you how I remember it
Yeah.
and because he's the genius. I do
So
it for dummies.
on the back of each one of these speakers is an input and an output. Y'all see that? Input, output. How you got the male and the female?
This is
Or as the internet says, um, the jack and the reciprocal. That's another way. But honestly, male and female is easier. So anyway, um, typically when you're hooking up a speaker to a sound source, you would just take the ins and outs from here, or an in or out, and just put it into the main hub, right? But what happens is on the correct, yeah, on the board or on like your control hub, it will be 1-to-1. And so if I just take this and hook this up to that, I can only control that one speaker with one fader. The issue is we have two speakers, and we want this to be used as a group because they're floor monitors. And so we want both of these on one. Does that make sense? So what daisy chaining is, it's saying we're going to take the main connection from the output, because it's an output from the main hub, put it into the input of one of the speakers, but then take this output and put it into this input. And so now the speakers are connected and they can operate on one fader at the same time.
Yep.
Does that make sense? Okay, so it's basically like a sounds version of an extension cord. Yeah.
Let's make it practical for a quick second. So when you go over here to the board, you have mains. Oh yeah, my fault. Follow me. You have left house, you have right house. It's always going to be left facing the stage, not left facing the crowd. You have left house, you have right house. Okay. This is how I do it. I don't like, this is how I remember, or I just think about getting it done is like a math equation or just like puzzle to me. Okay. The left house and the right house, it's not a female. So that eliminates me needing a male or female connection. Or female connection. So I'm gonna take the female side, I'm gonna put it in here, I'm gonna bring it over here to the speaker. We're gonna move over here. Okay. There's nothing, let's pretend there's nothing on this speaker. Okay, and now I know I have a male, and if you look back on this side, there's both of them are opposite, right? So if I know I have a male, okay, well it's gotta go on one of these. Just put it in the top one. Okay, it's gotta go on one of these. This is literally my thought process. So okay, now I need to get sound from this to that one. Okay, well if I just take, there's only one output. Is only one, and this is going out because this is going in, so it's got to be going out because I got to send it to something else. Okay, so I'm gonna put this in that, and then this is the opposite of that. So you put it in to the only other one that it could go in. So like, don't overthink or don't. It's literally that simple, and boom, you just connected them.
Yes, the process is in to out, or out to in, out to in. It's usually going to be the opposite. So if you're coming out, you're going to the in, and then if you're trying to go out from there, you need the out that's going to the in there, and it just keeps going like that.
And when you get that, you literally know how to set up all the speakers. No exaggeration. You know how to set up all the speakers, and people are gonna be like, "Wow, you're so good." No, you're not. Like it's not that hard. It's not. Yes, it's a joke. It's a joke. But yeah, it's not that. You just have to like understand it. So essentially, we'll have two speakers together on one side of the stage, two on the other, and then the floors. So you daisy chain, and then daisy chain. Okay, so that's essentially how it would work. For speakers, and then subs is honestly even easier because subs is that one-to-one connection. There is no. Do we daisy chain those subs?
We daisy chain everything.
We daisy chain the subs.
So subs are also daisy chained. Yes,
Yes,
they are. The only thing that is not daisy chained is the live stream. Mm-hmm. That's not daisy chain. There's no daisy involved.
No daisy
Correct.
involved.
Yeah. But that's just because can I walk them over to show them the live stream really quick? Or are we gonna get to that?
That's fine. Yeah, let's do it.
You sure?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Cool.
We'll just make that real quick before we move on to the last thing because I want to end subs and speakers. Your floors are gonna have blue tape on them. That's how you know they're the floors.
Mhm.
Everything else doesn't have any blue tape on it. Okay. All right, we can move on to live stream.
Okay, so real quick, the reason I wanted to touch on is because it's considered an output as well. So all of your outs, all the places sound is going out for us is the house, the floors, the subs, and the live stream. Okay. The reason why live stream is not daisy chained is because, as you see, there's two inputs. It's going into this focus right here. So it's got to come from to the out, and then it's got to go into the left and right of this live stream. This is typically one of the first outs we set up, though, and it's why this is actually on the left side because it's got to get to the media desk. Does that make sense? Okay, so this is the only one that won't be daisy chained. You're gonna need two of them for, and it should be right on there. Not one, two, three. Should be four and five. Yeah, live left, live right. Correct. And so all you would do, right, and this is what Jordan was saying, you got two different ends to the XLR. It's got to be one of these two. It's not going to be this one. So you just plug this one in. That's it. And then you run it all the way to the left.
And don't be
live
afraid
stream.
with live. I don't. Have we been having these really long XLRs? Have we been extending them?
We've been extending them too.
Okay. If you're by yourself, everybody's busy. It's okay to extend it. It's okay to get another XLR and just make a extension cord out of it. It's
Yep.
completely fine. So yeah, so we got live covered. Okay. Now live is its own. It's kind of its own. I would say that's more of like a tech thing to handle. But let's get back to the station. So speaker subs, we covered that. Anybody have any questions about speakers and subs? No? Okay. Yeah, of course. It's okay.
Okay, so in terms of cabling, not that it like super matters, but is there like a color code system that we can do like for maybe white speakers versus left speakers?
So
I did see like some blues and some yellows, but I don't know.
that's because we tried. That was actually back in that was at Jesus Lovers. And Jesus Lovers didn't turn out too well. And I found that without everyone knowing the system, it doesn't really like even tonight we don't have everybody here. So like they're still missing. So it's like it doesn't really it wouldn't be as like as helpful as it seems like in theory. Right. Now if we were at one location, it'd probably be amazing. It'd probably be really amazing. But because we move so much, I just think it's too many moving parts. Yeah, we do have a lot of chords. Mm. You could, um, you could, but it wouldn't be worth the work because you're still just putting it into left or right each time. Like having a color, the two chords you'll ever use for speakers is an XLR and a power cable. So it's not like four, five, six different types of chords. Now, had it been that, that'd make sense. But because it's just two, is XLR and speaker, and everything you need for the speakers is in the speaker box. Nothing more, nothing less. So because of that, there wouldn't be anything like to get confused with, if that makes sense in theory, if we keep it organized. Yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah. I appreciate that. I know. Uh-huh. Solo. Man, did all of the Addy kids had to do it solo at one point? I'm saying.
What y'all be doing in the movie theater?
Uh, we go there. Yeah. Man, that. Oh, like the tall joints. Yeah. That's the stamp of approval right there. Okay. Yeah, so that's speakers and subs. I think we can close on that. Okay. Let's hop into there's two more stations to cover. Two and a half. Because cleaning. Um, let's cover let's cover drums because there isn't nothing really to do for drums. Like you're just following Joe's lead. Now, Josh, I know you mentioned the tech will help, but I still want to explain because it isn't that difficult. It really isn't that difficult. With drums, the biggest thing you're gonna help JoJo with once he gets going is the cabling.
Yes. Do you want me to explain what a drumstick is?
Yes, you can explain.
All
What a
right. All
drumstick
right. All
is.
right.
He's itching to explain what a
I'm like
drumstick
Bill
is.
Nye today. All right.
Like
So, yes, I give you the technical, and then Jordan gives you
Barack
the
and I.
you know what I'm saying, gives you the yeah, the Webster's Urban Dictionary version. Honestly, most people like his version better. Um, this is very unorganized already.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about it.
All right. No sweat. This is a drum snake. And this is well where all the mics of the drums go to. And so you know how you saw that XLR over there? All it is a conglomerate of XLRs into one. Now every XLR on the drum snake is gonna have a number, and these are Megami. You know what I'm saying? So these ain't cheap. You know, so take care of them. Hence the gold numbers, right? The key is to match the numbers accordingly. So if I put 6 into a port that says snare, that means the other 6 has to go into the snare mic. If you put the snare mic into the kick, when he kicks on the board, it's going to show that he's kicking through a snare.
Mhm.
And then when we go to turn up the snare, we're going to blow the house out. And so
Yep.
all you're going to do is match 1 to 1. Did you want me to show that?
Yeah. Let's
Oh,
show it.
okay, yeah.
So Jojo will be at the drums. This is how it would look. Let's say I'm Joe. He'll be at the drums and he'll be like, I'm doing snare, or actually no, you'll call it from here, right?
Yes, I'll call it from
So
here.
whoever's
Or
working with him.
either one, he'll let you know, hey, I'm ready to plug in mid tom.
Okay. So everything's labeled on here and it's labeled on here.
Although it doesn't really matter on here. It matters more in there. But yeah.
Oh yeah, because I think Zell, we did it and then we was like, bro, we need to
Yeah. The only way it matters on here is if you label both.
Yeah.
But if you label one, it actually does you no good.
So all you need to know is that there are numbers on these.
Correct.
That's all you need to know.
So, you know, if you probably can't see it from here, but they're like little gold numbers. And so, example, Jordan will say, hey, I put 2, so I have 2 right now. I put 2 into the kick. Okay, I need to find which one says kick, which is this one, and this is 2. So,
Boom.
boom.
And it's that easy.
It's that easy.
There's
And
no
then
Webster.
you'll
Dictionary
find 2
version.
on the other end, and he'll plug it into the kick mic.
Yeah.
Simple as
Now, to add to it, so you don't get confused, because when you're first starting, every new thing you'll be like, "Whoa, we didn't go over that." He is going to add another XLR to this, because it's 2 to add.
Yes.
He is going to add another XLR to this, so don't get alarmed when you see that. But he's going to add that to this, but it's not going to change. It's just extending it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just an extension.
Yeah. But that's drums. Essentially,
That's
you will
it,
have
yeah.
one person. Yep. Questions?
Okay, the way that this is a new version of the snake that I'm understanding. So the way I like understand the snake is like this XLR coming to this.
You thought you guys had the
Mm-hmm.
You're also worse than me to break the cord.
Yeah.
So this is like a 2020 version.
I think
How is it different?
that would be great. I think you also because you just set it right next to the
Correct. Yeah, there are different versions of the snake. There's a snake that's got the
That being all one cable.
yeah. Yeah, this is literally just because of like we needed the mobility. But I do know the version you're talking about where it's like it has one end like this and then it's like a box of like ports. Yeah. I think that's better for more of a stationary type of setup. But for what we need, it's pretty much the same concept. We also knew we needed the extensions on both sides. And so the ability to just like stretch it out or whatever, or adjust it around something because we didn't know where we were gonna be. That's why we got it. But yeah, it's not a newer version, it's just a different version. Yeah. Yeah, way lighter.
So that's drums.
I had the old school one in our pops' studio.
Appreciate it.
So,
Okay.
man.
So this next one, it's kind of all combined because they're in the same area, but it will be everything keys, essentially instruments, talkback mics, and P16s. So that's anything. We're gonna take another field trip. Now it's a mess over here because we haven't implemented what we implemented on the road yet at home. So there is no snake over here. This is like the before pick of a fitness journey, and it's rough. But good news, we're working on getting a lot of this replaced. So when you get back, we're not gonna have to unplug this. Like we've been having the conversations. We've already done this and this. So this can stay here, which is nice because the goal is to just drop for setup for tear down team.
now gotten to the point where we don't need to take stands.
We don't need to take stands or mics. Yes, they're back there. So
Clap for that, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Clap for
All right.
replacements. Give them.
so we're gonna simplify this and just talk over each instrument, which is really just the keys because Terrence comes in and sets himself up, and Chad comes in and sets himself up. True. True.
But I mean, it's the same concept as this.
It's the same concept. It's going to be the same concept for everything. You have your keyboard, and you have three things you're going to be plugging into. You got your power cord. I think that's process of elimination. Okay, I set the keyboard up. It needs power. Okay. All right. We gave it power. All right. What's next? Now we need the keyboard to talk to our system. Okay. So how's it going to talk to our system? All instruments have something called a DI box that it has to run through. Do you want to explain the DI box? Is there some scientific explanation for DI boxes?
I don't have the depth of it.
Uh-huh.
It helps you control gain and ground, which to me I think is the biggest benefit of the DI box.
Okay. So that's
So,
the
yes.
DI box. Just
Right? Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Just know you need a DI box with an instrument, right? And we should have those packed already. I don't think we take these ones, right? Oh, true. So, DI box, if you look on here, now this is where like the process of elimination kind of comes in. There is no XLR connection on the back of the keyboard. So you know you can't do anything XLR, right? It's always going to be, well, this is what we call a 1/4 inch because it's literally a 1/4 inch big. But this is a 1/4 inch, and essentially it just goes into the input. And I know this says in out, so it can get confusing. The other side says output, so it's got to be opposite. It's got to be in. So this goes into your input, and then you do your XLR going out, and this is what goes into the board. Because you're like, how can a 1/4 inch go into the board? Well, this is what's going to go into the board because it's your XLR, and that's how it talks to it. And then you just plug in the sustain pedal. That's literally these. So when he plays, he can hold out notes, and your keyboard is set up. Like that's pretty much it for that. And you plug it into, when you plug the XLR, there's a channel labeled keys. Ron, which is the red, is always going to be main keys, and then same connections over here. That's going to be aux keys, but they're both labeled on here on the board. Any questions about that? Learn. Okay. so, so Click also has a channel, and essentially it's the same system. It's just with an interface instead. So, and that will be Joe. So Joe will tell you, hey, I'm ready to put my click in. Yeah.
So it's literally the bass, guitar keys, and the aux are all the same XLR to DI box to whatever you're trying to plug it into. And so each one you need at least a 1/4 inch and an XLR and a DI box. So
And it's all in the box just for keys, aux. So if you're like, I gotta find this chord, it should just be in that box that you're looking for. Okay, let's go. I think you should take over P16s.
is this helpful to everyone, by the way? Let us know if we're going too fast, too.
I
We
feel
just want everybody to be prepared and as equipped. Y'all have been doing so great without having all the depth of knowledge that I feel like this is going to
it's
help
been
so
very
much.
impressive, actually.
Yeah, no, it's really been amazing. Okay, let me go over P16s, the mystical P16s. I'm be honest, I didn't use P16s in my last church, so I didn't know what they were. But the P16s, okay, yeah, I'll give you the basic rundown. This is how the instrumentalists are able to control what volume, will control what they hear in their own in-ears. And so back in the day, everyone basically had to have those, which are floor monitors, kind of next to them to hear their own sound, to hear what the speaker was saying. And so it created more room for feedback. But now we have P16, so all they do is hook up to this, and they can put headphones or in-ears in, and they can literally press one is keys and organize all that. You don't need to know that. You just need to know that every instrumentalist needs one of these, and they're all labeled. Bass, mains. I think Chad's is labeled literally Chad. and then aux, and then JoJo. So every station will need one P16 bank. Now, P16s don't take power, right? So you know how this, like we plug in a power cord here, it's not going to take that. What does take power is the main hub. What you're going to do is you're going to take this main hub where you see all these cat cables going to. Do y'all see that? Okay. That's going to take power. So you'll plug power into that, which, you know, we'll have outlets around. And you essentially take the cat cable, like these black cat cables, plug it into a port, and then just plug it into one of the back of the P16s in the slot that says in. That word again, in. So same thing as always is coming from the out of the P16, going to the back of the ends. I mean, out to the power bank to the ends of the P16s. We should. That would be fire. I'm sure that they have one though. But that's all it is. And then when you turn it on, it should light up. If I press the button right. No, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Doesn't matter if you put one to the drums and and switch it up. It doesn't matter because they're saved. Their settings are saved within their own individual P16. So what you don't want to do is turn it on and then start messing with stuff, because that's when things get like messed up for them. All you gotta do is plug it in, and you turn on the power bank, and then you should be able to turn on this power, and you see it's lit up now. So
Now their microphones. You want to go over that Yamaha?
yeah, I'll talk through that. So once you get P16s, these are kind of miscellaneous tags that are very important though. Is the next is the talkback mics. So talkback mics is just these mics right here, and it's how they communicate, right? It's how sound gets to these for them. We have a mixer. This Yamaha mixer is for them to plug all their mics into. So everyone has a mic but JoJo. They took his mic away, um, because the drums are loud, and so if he's trying to talk, all they hear is, you know, and it's just not it. So all you're gonna do is get power to it. One, and this is one of those like smaller power cords in the back. Um, it's not like a big one. And then you'll take a microphone, you know, put it on a stand like this, and hook in the appropriate XLR hookup to it. And then you're gonna take the other end and plug it into one of the line ends here. So there's one, two, there's four line ends we use, one and two, and then there are 2/4 inch two XLRs. So 1 inch is a quarter, one side is a 1/4 inch, one side is an XLR connection. That
Now
yeah.
we are actively working on replacing this as well to get a second one. I'm gonna tape it and label it so that way when you go in, I want anybody to be jumping. Okay, these are the ones that are labeled because this is literally it's gonna be two colors. One color will be anywhere where you can plug a mic. The other will be anywhere that you plug the output for the going to the board. Because it isn't once you do it, it's not that complicated. But looking at it now, you probably it could probably be a little intimidating. Um, but it's literally just getting the mics plugged in, and that's something that a tech can also work with you on, because I don't expect everybody to pick it up, immediately. Um, but yeah,
Yeah, and then the last plug is like he said, the out, going into um, the end of the board. So yeah, with him labeling, that'll be better. Typically, techs oversee that. This was this was Cyrus's bread and butter.
we're gonna
You
miss
know,
them.
if you watching Cyrus, we gonna miss you. But Cyrus would literally come in and knock out the talkbacks in the P16s like that. That
Yeah,
that was his
he
thing.
was
So
coaching me on it last week because
yeah,
I don't do P16s often, so like he was making sure I had it. And I was like, okay. It's like after you see it so many times and then you get it taught, it's like, oh, okay, I get it. Um, yeah, it's actually the ones on.
that one goes to the mic.
Yes, it's
The one at the end goes to the board.
yeah, it's only one that goes to the board. Yep, yep. These are all mics. Yep. It's just a different type of cable. Yeah. Um. Yes.
Out from there to the board. So it's going into an input on the board. Hmm. 16 to
was
be
thinking they were
exact.
gonna plug it out.
16 is always talkback. I don't. We never changed it for some reason.
Any other questions for instruments? Yes.
Now we tried that.
I'm crying.
Just it was really just by recommendation of the musicians. I mean, he did have it for a little bit, but they was just like, "Nah, take it away." So but well, might bargain with him again. We did. We had a heavy gate on it
I
though.
only ordered 4 mics, so he's going to rock out. That is all of the actual setup. So when you actually think about it in the sections, it's not that bad. You got speakers, floors, you got instruments, and then you got drums. That's it, talkbacks. So that's the actual setup. Now, Kaylin, do you want to talk a little bit about cleanup? Because this is huge and it helps so much because it's like you get done and it's nice to have this stuff done. Um, but if you come in and none of this stuck, you just like, I still don't know nothing. Like, at least you can get in and do what she's about to talk about. 'Cause-
Find Kaylin if you don't know what to do. Find Kaylin.
I'm gonna be taping. Okay, so like he mentioned earlier, when you first come in, that's when we put everything down into its proper location. So that's when I'm like, placing everything down, putting everything up from the cart, putting it down to its proper place. And then from then, we do have some stuff that's not necessarily ours, but it's like the greeting team stuff. So that stuff, you put that to the side. So I'm like the little maintenance assistant. I make sure their stuff is good. Their stuff is needed. They have everything that they need. And miscellaneous things, that's put to the side. If I have to go to the bathroom, put the baby cart stuff, I'll go do that. Because I know with them it takes a lot longer for their role, so they won't need me to tape yet because they're still trying to find the chorus, they're still trying to do all that stuff. So I'm not necessarily needed as yet. So I'll make sure like all that stuff's complete. The plants are like to the side as well. So when it's time for that, when they're done, I can easily put the plants rather, in their specific spot. So when I'm finished with that, I now work on the mics, and the mics they're labeled differently than where the batteries are. So the batteries are in the one of the boxes that says batteries, chargers, iPads, and laptop bins. So that's where all the batteries are. We want to take the charged batteries. So there's like 3 of them that are already charged, and there's batteries in them. You want to take those. And then the mics are in a different bin than the batteries. What's that name of the bin called? Yeah.
It's called the case.
Okay. It's in a box like somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's tape on it.
Okay, word. So it says mics and all that stuff like that. So you get the batteries from the battery bin, the mics from the mic bin. Take that, and then I ask one of the guys to give me a table for the back section. So that way, when they're finished with their whatever they're doing, and the worship leader comes up, they already have their mics all set up, ready for them to go. After we finish, put the table up, grab the everything that's needed. There's 2 batteries that we need. So for each mic, there's 2 batteries, and make sure they're labeled how to put batteries in. Thank you for helping me last time. So they're labeled. You put that in there. Make sure all batteries you tested by this. So I'm gonna try it. Press it. Thank you. Okay, so you want to press it just to ensure 6. You want to press it just to make sure that the mics are working and that they're on, right? Because we don't want any dead batteries within the mics. Apostle, his is black, all black. That's Apostle's mic. And then others are labeled for the singers. They're labeled in various colors that they do. Also, I there's the mic um, to coverings, the mic coverings too as well. I believe most of the worship leaders don't mind if we put it on there. I know you don't mind, but some of them have, I guess, different preferences and stuff. If they just because of germs and cleanliness and things like that, they want you to put the mic coverings on. Sometimes they don't. I do. Um, Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Praise the Lord. It's crazy. A lot of breath. Okay, so usually within a pack, there's two. Two comes in a pack. So you just want to make sure that each mic has one on them. Then after that, they're in the case. So I just put all of them on top of the case, and I don't touch it at all. Just because when they come, what they typically do is I'll see where they put it on the side speaker. If y'all notice, they put it right when the worship team is like coming up. They take their mics or they put it down right there. That's I think you all do that, and the worship leaders do that. So I don't touch it. I just still keep it in the back, make sure it's neat. When they need it, they know where it is. Everything's good. Then after that, when I'm done with my part, I organize it. So when the setup team or the teardown team comes, y'all are able to put everything back and organize it. I also, when I'm done with the batteries, I put it back too, just in case if someone needs it. Just again, cleanliness, assistance. Usually there's stuff on the floor too when they're trying to like wrap everything up, throw it away, make sure everything's clean and good. Next, I start taping. Taping and if you are taping, it'll make a lot of sense with what they're talking about with the inputs, outputs, things like that. Because when you're taping, you have to tape from one end to the other. So you'll notice in your head, like, okay, this is going from this end, and I gotta tape it to the other end, which will also help with if they need assistance with anything here, it'll be easy because you've already taped it. So you kind of know which place goes to another place. Everywhere.
Had it for like weeks. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Oh, that's lit. Really? Wow. The amount of times I have to ask for scissors for tape.
I'm so sorry.
The tape we have, is that considered gaffer tape? Because I think sometimes that was hard to get off.
It's very hard.
Because let that tape be sitting too long, it'll be sticky.
Yeah, it's gonna be a wrap. For real. That's real. So yeah, essentially what he just said is really simple. Anywhere you see like lines, gaps, anyone could trip. You know how apostle is. He can, gets to the edge. We want the lines or tape all over that. Make sure that it's taped up. Usually by taping it, pretty simple. You kind of measure, make sure there's no gaps when you're trying to do it. There's multiple cords typically on when they're taping it. So just make sure that you cover everything. Even when they ask, sorry, there's one more cord. I got to do one more cord. We usually like retape it too, just because we don't want to waste it. But typically, if we do need to double tape, we will double tape just in case. Yes. It's pretty flat. It's flat. Yeah. Thank you for asking that question. He did know the answer. He did know the answer. But yes, it's flat, and I even tested too just to make sure it's neat, flat, and the line is straight. Because I hate looking and seeing I curved, a little bit. Yeah, but you just want to make sure it's straight, it's neat, it's presentable.
Thank you. Caitlin's done an amazing
Nah,
job with that
she's
too.
been amazing. I've literally
Yeah.
been looking up, and it's been like, oh, the mics are, because we get done and we be like, all right, all right, let's check these. Oh, it's done.
It's done.
Batteries are plugged in, iPads are plugged in, so we just appreciate that. All right, so it's 8:30. Good thing is setup is there's not much to it. You just undid everything. Yeah, he done been on a couple setup tear down teams. You just unplug everything that you had plugged up. Drum case, you just set that up. Now I want to tackle this because I want to get everybody out here by like probably within the next 10, 15 minutes. I don't want to keep y'all too much longer. Let's go over teardown because that's been the weakness. From what I've seen, the biggest way to solve that weakness is duplicates, right? But we do want to make sure everything is as neat as possible so that when we come back. So what's the best way to do that? Whatever the box is labeled, put it in that section. Make sure all the cords that have to do with instruments go in the box with instruments, P16s, that same box it came out of, right? That's the best way. And the second thing is strapping. Strapping.
Strapping.
So let's
Strapping.
before
I'm
we
gonna
had a
emphasize
deficiency
this.
in straps. That's when I want to make sure every chord we rap has a strap because that makes or breaks us a lot of the times. So let's go over here real quick. I don't know if we have time to do the workshop. This is the last thing, so we'll do the workshop. We'll do the workshop. Okay. If everybody can, I saw that. If everybody can, um, grab an XLR. Grab an XLR. XLR. I hope these aren't tangled. It don't even got to be an XLR. Just grab a cord. Grab a cord. Cord. That one's kind of long. Not the extra long ones. Cord. Cord. Yeah, that's too long, bro. Just give me one of these small ones. Cord. Uh, it'll get the job done. XLR. XLR.
This is the
Oh, here you go. Yeah, so everything will go back in here. That's why it's a mess. We gotta clean it. Okay, XLR. You wanna participate too? I know you probably already know how to do this. I'm gonna show you how we learned at school, in music school. There you go. Does everybody have one? Okay, mine is up there. I'm gonna go up there and grab mine. All right, so I'm gonna show you how we learned it. Because honestly, this is literally the bulk of it. Um, this is the bulk of it. So usually when you're setting up, you have a strap already on it. You undo that strap, but don't just throw the strap away. Don't just throw it to the side. Keep it on the cord. So let's unstrap. Be more gentle than I was just now. Um, Once you get your cord untangled, you're gonna put your strap back on your cord. Okay? This is how we keep it. It doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Just make sure your cord is back on your strap. This is like when you're setting up, right? So you're gonna be undoing a lot of these. Um, not I think it's always so funny to watch everybody's techniques because technically, I mean, if it's rap, it's rap. I mean, I'm not gonna harp over, how it's rap. But that's the goal is to get it rap. But how we learned was, I'm right-handed, so I always do it in my left. So how we learned it when you're wrapping it up is you want to have this end on like the inside of your palm, right? I'm gonna have it like here, and then what I do is you can start this way or you can start reverse, but I start this and I do the most obvious one, which is just a wrap over top, and then what you do is you bring your hand down, you come on the inside of it, and then you just bring it up and you twist, and boom, you have a circle. That makes sense. Now, if once you get the I know.
You gotta do it the left hand way.
Once you get
Somebody has to do the left hand way.
somebody,
I was trying to teach her how to
I'm
do
gonna
it.
need a left-handed volunteer for that. But yeah, so I'm here. Now you can honestly, I'm not mad if you're just doing this. I'm not mad at it, but your circle is probably gonna be easy. You can do it like this. But you come here. All right, so I'll come around. Yeah, I'll come around. Yeah, you're
I do like the left hand.
come here.
Let it go to like natural.
Ali, you got an easier way that you do this? Yeah, you do it like this and then
Hey, Jordan, would you be opposed to Mike showing us his method as well? Yeah, Mike, you know what I'm saying? Well, why don't you show us how you rap chords? Because the way you do it and Pop do it look pretty smooth to me. Jordan, you got a loop de loop and pull.
We're gonna go it this way. We're gonna go with it. It's pretty easy.
I don't know. No, I can't.
So see how he has it? Like he gonna put it on your elbow.
Oh, right here.
No, like you're gonna put it on your palm, like hold it with your hand, and then you're gonna come around. Your elbow's gonna be the circle, and then just bring it. No, just bring it through your hand. Your hand. There you go. Here. See, you got it. Yeah. There you go. And then strap it. Yes, you can strap. I would. You don't. You don't have to do the bend circle, right? Like that's more like these ones are a lot more. Now we have a. I bought extra. I bought 120 straps. I bought 120 straps on top of the straps that the cords already have because that literally is a big thing. As long as if it's strapped, I don't care how it looks in the box. Just roll it up, strap it. You know, it's gonna make pulling cords out. You can then yank it out, and it's gonna become unmessy because it's strapped and because it's tangled. So we can put these back in extras. Very last thing to go over, and then we can go home. I know it's been a long night for you, big dog.
But you
Oh
have a
yeah, two
question?
questions.
I love it.
Okay. Okay. You're good. You're good. That's good, man. That's good. Did you strap it up? You got a strap?
No, I don't. It was like this. There was no strap.
I'm gonna break the rule for now. It's okay. It's okay.
No strap.
The straps will be in like the utility box, which will be iPads, chargers. Straps will stay in there. So if you ever need another strap, there should be plenty. Um, last thing we want to go over is tear down. Um, so fair tear down, or at least like when we get back to the church, right? When we get back to the church, my goal, I'm gonna tell you what the plans are. I'm not just sitting like suffering and everybody's suffering. My goal is for us to have a team of 5 for teardown. So that way it can be so quick. Like I wanna get home personally. Like mm, mm, basically. Yeah, right now. But it feels like it right now because we're trying to get everything duplicated. Once it's duplicated, you're just teardown's just gonna drop it off. They're not going to. Right now, we have to set back up. We just eliminated the mic stands and microphones, so we don't have to set those back up. Until we get that new stuff in, we're still gonna have to set back up P16s and speakers.
But
Right.
we have taken out drums too.
Yes, we've
That's
taken
a
out
big
drums.
deal.
JoJo got a
JoJo
drum
got a
set,
drum set.
so we don't have to do drums anymore. Um, but once that's the case, then that won't be the case. But for now, it is a little bit of a stretch. I think that's why everybody hates us. Mm, mm, mhm, mhm. Yeah, I'm following with more people. I do want it. I do want it. We have like the chat is probably like 18, 20 deep right now. But even then availability, right? So like I'm not the type where because I know what my journey was serving, I'm not going to be like uh well, we going to schedule everybody when we want to schedule. And that's just what it is. Like, cause then and then what happens when people don't show up? Then we really struggling. So I do want to keep like y'all letting me know your availability, and then I schedule you according to that. But at the same time, we need more people to be able to ensure that stuff gets. We can have a separate team just for that. You know, Z. Mm. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. I'm not tripping. Yeah. Hey, the schedule's done. I was just waiting on tonight to talk about some things. Yeah. Yeah. What's up? You want to talk about a couple things?
Hey y'all. Alright, so look, um, who has actually been on teardown, like bringing it back to the church? Tiffany and Chris. Hey, alright, but nah, teardown really isn't bad for real. Cause once you tear down from the church and you bring everything here, it's really just setting everything up. So basically, just putting the speakers back up, setting up the P16s, setting up the floor speakers, and just bringing everything back from church on Sunday. So it really isn't as bad as like setup, but it's just different, like a different type of motion going into it. Because once you bring it back, it's really easier just to basically set up everything. Once you set up everything, and we do have more people, yeah, because we usually have about like 2 to 4 people every teardown.
When it's the full four, and then sometimes the tech or the U-Haul driver,
Yeah,
sometimes five. I think it's pretty smooth. Thanks for that. I think it's pretty smooth, but I think the biggest thing is, but at the same time, I'm not knocking anybody because like sometimes people have stuff going on. You know what I'm saying? It's just a matter of we need more people to join the team so that we can cycle more people,
Yeah,
throughout.
I'll step in and say this
Go
though.
ahead, go ahead.
Um, though we are believing God for more people, and we're gonna wait for more people, I think there still is like an understanding that all of what we're doing is like foundational and temporary. And so, for the time being, like as much as we desire to make it as easy as possible on the team, um, to meet it halfway, we're just coming with the mentality and understanding that there's a sacrificial aspect to any service and tear down, depending on your preference, because it's not everybody's preference, could be more sacrificial than maybe the setup, depending upon whether you get up early or not. Part of the reason why we wanted to go through all of this and show everybody how to do things is because the time consuming portion of this is mostly just knowing how to reconnect everything when you get back. If everyone knows how to set up like they do at the church here, then this process is quick because we can put a keyboard down and plug it in, and then we can put a mic down and plug it in, and then people can leave. And so, just a couple of things to take away with teardown was just like understanding like we're waiting for more people, but teardown isn't the place to try to look for the way out. Like, just quite frankly, because that's the part that takes the most. You know, it's very sacrificial because it's after church and it's later in the evening. But it's very important because if we have services Thursdays or Tuesdays and things aren't set up, that comes back on the sound team. And if we don't have people who are all like in on that part, it usually falls on him or myself consistently on those days. And so just
Yeah.
just just
And just
throwing
to
that out
kind of
there.
paint practical perspective, um, for those first days, we did stay the first month. We stayed, set up and tear down. We wasn't getting home till like 7, like 6:45, 7 ish. Like, like, and I noticed that we got out quicker the days we did have the people. So that's just something to keep in mind because the mindset may be, ah man, like I'm scheduled for teardown, but it may be your only teardown or it may be your teardown every other week. That's you do that and you're done. You know, like that's kind of like the reality of like how it is. Um, where we when it comes to the U-Haul and stuff like that, which I do want to touch on that as well. Um, yeah, I think you covered it, but yeah.
It's good understanding the whole thing. I'm coming from East Houston, so I'm just two trips to school, so
Right, right.
I have to just like adjust my schedule to the days I would be experiencing. So I apologize.
You got it. You good, bro. Yeah,
But now I
you
get
good. 'Cause I know your
everything.
pops out there. So. Yeah.
I had a question about microphones. So are they? I know that they're color coded. Are they like labeled by soprano, alto, tenor, or is it kind of like?
Yeah, so no alto soprano labeling yet. We did do that for a portion, but mic changes used like happen so much with us that an alto would hand it to a tenor who ends up bleeding, and now we got so what we ended up doing
And the worship team tends to think that certain colors are better than
are
others
better
for
than
some,
others. Like
when they're literally the same.
you'll commonly find sopranos just happen to always have yellow.
They're like, I want yellow. I'm like,
you know,
the yellow's the same.
it's the same, and the tenors typically
Yeah.
have the blue because that used to be the stinkiest mic, and so they just gave it to the tenor, and then we changed it. But anyway, no, the only thing that's consistent is the pink purplish mic is always the lead singer, and then the one that is all black is the lead preacher slash apostle. There's only one apostle, but apostles or whoever is the preacher speaker.
Okay, this is probably not a question for now, but I just want to ask it. So, in terms of mic check, I know that in the process we probably not doing it, and that's fine. But I think for me, once I start being on the board, like in order to know different people's sound, like I need to hear their voices in advance. So maybe a Wednesday night might be an opportunity to kind of like start
Yeah.
to hear people's sound and see if
Hmm.
there's any.
Yeah, and that's something we're gonna do, like a Zoom tech meeting for the techs. Because I don't think we need to be in person, but when we want to do hands-on training, Monday nights we'll use Monday night rehearsals to come in and play with stuff. But you're right. I've been talking to Josh about it. I just, because there's so much we got to get in order, I haven't been able to implement it, but it's something we can move towards. I think we need to kind of reteach the team what a professional sound setup is when it comes to sound check, and not just sound checking, like, hey, sing as loud as you're supposed to sing. That's how we did it. We started from zero back at school because I used to mix different shows. You start from zero, everybody sing or play, and then we get everybody to do together. And really, the sound tech is the one leading it. But that's something that's in tandem. Yeah, but no, you're right. Yeah, you're right. That's how it should be. But that would be a
Mhm.
sound tech conversation that we have. We're gonna do a Zoom. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's more so like implementing like our like tech trainings, but it is something that I am wanting to work towards on the worship team is getting more consistent sound checks, and we're trying to start doing that. I mean, anywhere between 12:30, but that's also contingent upon us getting set up. And I think we're now at a point where we get set up in time where we can have a sound check.
I
I
agree.
think I think at first we were like trying to figure out what time it would be because we didn't know how quick we'd be set up. But at this point, yes, we can 100% start like implementing sound checks, for us and for the team.
Yeah. So yeah, I think we covered everything as far as setup and tear down. Everybody, know the basics. Definitely feel free, when you're on the teams, for those who were here, to help the ones who weren't. We did record, right? Okay, thank God we recorded, so we'll send it in the chat anyway. And then I'll send out. I'm debating if we should make a new Slack for like our no, we'll just use that one for the text. Um, and we'll figure out a Zoom meeting to get together with y'all soon. And then I don't know if we need to add Mike to that.
Are you in the regular Slack?
He's in the setup and tear down.
Yeah,
We need to
well,
add him to
as
the
a
tech
tech.
teams.
And then, is there anybody here that's not already, put up interest that would potentially be interested in being considered to be a tech? Okay,
Okay, so
and
we'll add him
and
to
understand
I'll
like
add you
that.
to the chat.
I say considered because
Okay.
realistically, it does take a certain level of skill and understanding. Unfortunately, it's not like the camera where we can just put the settings and leave you be. We're essentially saying, hey, we're trusting you to oversee troubleshoots, to oversee when Apostle's mic is flickering in and out mid service. What do you do? And that's technical stuff that can be taught if you're willing to kind of commit to it. And so that's why but we're more than happy to add you. But that's all right.
Mm.
Okay. Yeah.
And I will say this is as hard as it'll get if you join the team, because once once we get a building, there is no setup and tear down team. There's just text. That's all there is. Like that's I know. That's it. It's just text. So but if you want to, yeah. Then we just get dropped off. What happens with us? You can. Yeah, you can if you want to. I'm definitely not trying to like say like everyone needs to do it, but the more hands, that it's a good time to get. And we're still developing the training system for that. And when it comes to that, but of course, of course.
Okay, in terms of conferences, how do
question.
I mean, I know that
Mhm.
probably you all be leading and singing and stuff. So how do you determine like the team that you play out?
Oh,
Is that like
in
a
the past,
serving
there was no
process?
team.
Or like,
Yeah,
We were the team.
we were the team. It was me, Pop,
and the
and
worship
Josh.
leader.
Yeah. Jesus Lovers was our first when they transitioned. Me as sound lead, him as worship lead. Jesus Lovers. It was during a conference,
Yep, that's when
and we
things
didn't
changed.
have this. So
And I set up and
going-
then got on stage.
yeah. So the fact that our Sunday to Sunday is equipped to move, I honestly conference is the least of my worries.
But here's what I will say: I am starting conference planning next week because I got to plan out the worship team too. And so I was going to talk to Jordan about the sound team. I was going to say most of the time it's
Yeah.
Tex doing a lot more work in the conference as far as we will talk about who's going to be doing day sessions, night sessions, depending upon who's available. And so we'll rotate that. It's tough to be a tech running all of it. You're probably going to fall asleep and like just to be honest, because you're the earliest one there and you're the last one there. And so we rotate that. But this year we'll probably have our setup and breakdown teams assist with the actual setup and breakdown of the conference, and then have the techs just kind of manage it as we go. Yeah.
Yeah, the goal is by May. It's not. I don't always need to be at setup on setup team, or I don't always have to be on P and T. The same way you be. Like the goal is that we get more techs implemented where we can rotate and we can share that weight. So, but that's I kept y'all. We kept y'all long enough.
Last thing I'll say for those who are looking to be techs, and we'll talk more too, little services like 7 a.m. prayer impartation, those are also
Yes,
good
yes.
opportunities to run sound. And when you become a tech, the expectation is like not that you run every single one, but like we'll all kind of carry the load for those together. You know, maybe every 2 or 3 months you may be doing a Saturday morning if you're available for it. And we'll obviously send out stuff. But yeah, that's all I got.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone. Y'all have a good night. Be safe. Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you.